And we are live. Hello, everyone. Welcome to part 17 of Sonadow Play Ace Attorney, the Apollo Justice Trilogy. Joining me, as per usual, is my lovely girlfriend, IMShadow 007. Say hello.
Hello!
And today we are continuing case 2 of the 5th game, the first trial segment.
Yes! Let's get started! Trial day 1.
April 18th, 9:15 a.m. You okay, Athena? You've been really antsy since we got here.
I'm just excited. This is my first real court case, after all.
Yeah, a real ball of excitement she is. I know just what she needs. Athena!
Didn't you ever learn about indoor and outdoor voices?
I'm just trying to show you the best way to relieve your pre-trial jitters.
By scaring the daylights out of me?
No, I find that shouting, "I'm fine!" in a loud voice really relieves stress. It's part of my Chords of Steel voice workout, and a must before every trial.
You want me to shout? Here?
That's right. Here. I'll go first, then you try. I'm Apollo Justice, and I'm fine!
Alright, I'm Athena Sykes! And I'm fine! I think it actually worked.
I thought it might help. Always works for me. An old friend of mine from junior high and I say it all the time.
I see. A proven remedy to calm the soul. I like it. Hey, how about we finish off with a race around the courthouse?
The point is to relieve stress, not get totally exhausted. What's with all the racket, you two? Ah, Mr. Wright. Just a little voice workout. Just a little voice workout. Hey, what's with the suit? Oh, this? I was thinking about getting my attorney's badge back, that's all. That's all? That's huge news! But why now? I have a feeling I'll be needed in the courtroom again sometime soon. But we can talk about that another time. No fair. Inquiring minds want to know. But wow. I'm so used to him in his usual laid-back clothes. That suit makes him look like $1 million. By the way, have you heard about the prosecutor assigned to this case? Yeah, he's serving time. But before that, he was a prosecutor. He also uses psychology? That's right. I've heard the rumors about how he was back before his conviction. Using the power of suggestion, he could make even the most stalwart defendants confess. Psychology in the courtroom. Been hearing a lot about that lately. So he must be a pretty scary guy, considering he's a prison inmate and all. So they say. They also say he'll cut you down if you talk too much. Ugh! I knew he was going to be bad news. It's probably just hyperbole. At least I hope for your sake. Wait, so is it true or not? Let's just say you should be concise and choose your words carefully. If you'd like to keep that head of yours attached to the rest of your body, that is. Yikes! Better tone down my Chords of Steel, too. So are you all ready? It might be a good idea to check the court record again before stepping into the ring. Right, Mr. Wright. But I'm fine! I'll be watching from the gallery. Good luck. Thanks!
Okay, let's do this.
The odds of pulling this one off are ridiculously low, but that's nothing new. Believe in our client. Seek the truth. That's all we can do. Hang in there, Mayor Tenma. Here comes justice. Court is now in session for the trial of Damien Tenma. Apollo Justice, defense team leader, is ready, Your Honor. I'd know that big booming voice anywhere. As chipper as ever, eh, Mr. Justice? But who is the young lady next to you?
I'm Athena Sykes, Mr. Justice's junior partner and fresh out of law school.
Well now, Full of beans too, eh? Excellent. Makes an old man feel young again. Now for the prosecution. It appears the prosecution is not ready yet. Never fear, I shall explain. It's just a minor procedural complication, Your Honor. The prosecutor for this case is being escorted from prison as we speak. Prison? Oh yes, of course. I almost forgot he's currently serving time.
Yup, Prosecutor Blackwell's an inmate. But even a convicted murderer still got a job to do and duties to perform.
You really think Ace Attorney cares about stuff that's highly illegal?
By the way, hi, Troy Baker! That's
Oh, yeah.
It's the this time of Blackwell is Troy Baker.
Yeah, as far as I know, apart from, like, the courtroom voice lines, Blackwell doesn't actually speak in this game.
He says, silence.
Yeah, that's about it.
That's him. I'm sure of it. Prosecutor Blackwell.
Is the prosecution ready?
Hi.
Enough jabbering. Get on with it already. Of course. Forgive me. Why are all the people related to this case so scary? Very well. Prosecutor Blackwell, your opening statement, if you please. What's the matter? Must we continue to fritter away time like this? It is all right there in the indictment. An opening statement would be pointless.
I love his theme.
Pointless? Well... Looks like the cat, or in this case, the prosecutor, has the judge's tongue. But we need an opening statement as an overview of the case at hand. Well then, your baldness. If it is so very important, why don't you do the honors? Who? Me? There is a term for people who whine and fuss about how they need silly, useless things, and then decide they no longer want them once it's theirs. A selfish old fool. Huh?
Well, wait, was that prosecution's opening statement?
Old dotards such as you are a plague upon the young. I pity your poor grandchildren, or is it great-grandchildren? I'm not that old! All these years I thought the opening statement was the prosecutor's job. But I suppose I could give it a try. Might be a nice change of pace. What?! You actually fell for that?
Must have been the power of suggestion Mr. Wright was talking about. And yeah, that pool of blood that Blackwell did, and another future scene later on, this is the reason why this game got an M rating.
Pretty much. The opening statement. Let's see here. The victim was one Rex Cuby,
Yes.
Alderman of Nine Tails Vale. And the defendant, Damien Tenma, Mayor of Tenma Town, is accused of his murder. And why, pray tell, was the mayor arrested? His prints were on the murder weapon. Plus, he had a motive, the elimination of the biggest roadblock to the municipal merger. The caretaker and the secretary, other potential suspects, both have alibis. And his daughter, who was also in the vicinity at the time, has no motive. So in a nutshell, I'd have to say the charges against the defendant are incontrovertible. Bravo, your boldness. Your years of experience shine bright like your head. Ho ho ho! Flattery will get you everywhere.
He's playing Simon Says with the judge.
Moving right along now, let's hear from our first witness today, Detective Fulbright, who I like to call Johnny Bravo. Witness, please state your name and occupation. I'm detective assigned to this case. Bobby Fulbright! Oh, and I'll be keeping tabs on old Blackwell here. I also heard you would provide protection if it ever came to that. It would seem that I have been sorely underestimated. Wait, who's protecting who from what? Still, I truly believe anyone can turn their life around, even old Blackwell here. Oh! Fulbright, save your platitudes for funerals. Get on with your statement.
He's so cool.
That's the spirit. Justice must be swift and true. I see it in your eyes. There is hope for your rehabilitation and return to society. I will never give up on you. Is this guy for real?
That's the face of I really want to kill this guy. Prosecutor Blackwell doesn't seem to intimidate Detective Fulbright.
Well, you know what they say. Ignorance is bliss.
Oh, so that's why Detective Fulbright was assigned to Blackwell. He's so oblivious.
Now, let's have your first statement, Detective Fulbright. You got it, but I'd like to say to the defense that justice will ultimately prevail.
Oh boy.
Ay, ay, ay.
This guy, I swear, ham and cheese sandwich.
He is. Alderman Cuby was murdered with a spear that had been on the wall. The fingerprints of the defendant, Damien Tenma, were found on the murder weapon. At the time, Alderman Cuby was asleep from a drug he unwillingly ingested. Mayor Tenma attacked his helpless victim, impaling him like a human shish kebab. But the sudden pain jolted the victim awake, and he grabbed a statue and struck back.
Okay.
Alderman Cuby had been slipped some kind of sleep-inducing drug? That's right. The accused was scared because the alderman was a former pro wrestler. So he slipped him a drug to make sure he'd be out cold and defenseless. Here's the autopsy report to prove it. Thank you.
Thank you, we'll take that.
And the victim managed to attack his attacker despite being impaled by a spear? That sounds almost superhuman. Is it even possible? Well, he was a former pro wrestler after all. That spear was probably nothing more than a mosquito bite to him.
Objection!
Not so fast. Don't try to brush it all off by saying the alderman had been a pro wrestler. Do you really expect us to believe you could fight back after being skewered by a spear? Never heard of the incredible feats of which a man is capable of in a pinch, have you? Yeah, it's called adrenaline.
Yeah, I know, right?
Like the samurai of yore, wrestlers can battle through intense pain. It sharpens their senses. I used to talk about it with a former pro wrestler I met in the clink. I don't know, it still sounds like a little far-fetched. Does it now? Then perhaps we should test that theory on you with the edge of my blade. I didn't sign up for this! And so your life is spared. For now.
I'm scaroused.
Please let those shackles be made of titanium. I don't want to die. My investigations are as thorough as they are foolproof, or my name isn't Fulbright. I vow to resign immediately if I ever make a false arrest. The accused prints were on the weapon, and he's the one person without an alibi. Quite decisive evidence, wouldn't you agree, your baldness? The defendant is sounding guiltier by the minute. He has the judge leaning towards a guilty verdict. The trial's just barely begun. What's more, a curious rumor about the accused is making the rounds. They say he seeks the merger for the purpose of freeing Tenma Taro from his imprisonment. Truth be told, I can think of no real reason to show interest in that backwards burg. Perhaps he's a complete nutter. Perhaps he's a complete nutter and really does seek to release an imaginary demon. But I guess Blackwell's British in the localization, because I've never heard an American say nutter.
Yeah.
Either way, he is raving mad and more than capable of murdering the alderman. The mayor's a strange one, all right. I heard he went to a blood drive, and instead of donating, he tried to make a withdrawal. Order! There will be no gossiping in my court! Your baldness. Please take a gander at those charms plastered across his cranium. I hear they're meant to keep him safe from possession by the demon Tenmataro. Then again, perhaps he's already under the demon's spell. Behold, the lunatic appears poised to lunge at you at any moment.
Hold it! The rumors in court of Mayor Tema have no relevance to the case. Besides, those charms on his head, they're just a fashion statement, I think.
Come to think of it, such things don't seem relevant to the case, do they?
The prosecution will refrain from dragging our client's reputation through the mud.
Oh, what a dreadfully fearsome lass we have here. Phew, thanks for the lifeline, Athena.
Careful, Apollo. He has the judge dancing in the palm of his hand. The power of suggestion is one of the more powerful tools in Simon Blackwell's arsenal. He's trying to manipulate everyone's impressions to suit his objectives.
This guy really is bad news. In any case, it seems the victim did manage to defend himself despite being impaled. What sort of weapon did he use against his attacker? None other than this statue right here! It appears to be a statue of two strange creatures locked in battle. Two yokai, to be exact. One on one side is Nine-Tailed Fox, and the other Tenmataro. Quite interesting if you think about it. It's as though this very case were rendered in art. Thank you.
We'll take that.
Mr. Justice, you may proceed with your cross-examination. About time.
Present the fox and demon statue on the 5th statement.
Blah, 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 blah.
Now present the fox and demon statue.
Objection!
Did the alderman really strike the mayor? What? Are you questioning my sense of justice? Your so-called justice needs to find itself a pair of legs to stand on. Your claim the alderman struck back after the mayor put a spear through him. But the statue he supposedly used to defend himself creates a major hole in your theory. It would appear that the defense has a counter-argument. Very well, let's hear what the defense thinks is odd about the detective's statue theory.
There are no fingerprints.
There are no fingerprints on this supposedly crucial piece of evidence. And if you look at the crime scene photo, you'll notice that the alderman isn't wearing gloves. Yes, I believe he is quite gloveless indeed. If he touched the statue with his bare hands, he should have left some fingerprints. Detective Fulbright, you did take that into account during your investigation, didn't you? Ah! This can't be happening! Did I arrest the wrong man? Yes, you did.
Yeah, dumbass. You did, Apollo! You knocked Detective Fulbright off his high horse.
Well, it's just 1 point in our favor.
Who do you suppose clubbed the mayor if he wasn't the alderman?
Well, if it wasn't the alderman, that means someone else must have clubbed the mayor.
You mean there was a third party there in the box chamber?
Exactly. And this could be the big break we've been looking for. There does seem to be a hole in the prosecution's argument. Prosecutor Blackwell, would you care to respond to the defense's assertion? I guess not. The least you could do is look at me while being dismissive. Your mind is as dull as an unhoned blade, Justice Dono. Justice Dono? He's been watching too many samurai flicks. It will take far more than that to cut down Simon Blackquill.
For those of you who don't know, Dono is an honorific basically meaning Mr. or Miss, like in a more higher status.
Yeah.
Like, Dono is higher than San, but a step below Sama.
A whelp such as you has no hope against my superior swordsmanship. This is a trial, not a sword fight, Prosecutor Blackquill. There is a perfectly good explanation for the lack of prints on the statue. You might recall that the blood-stained cloth found at the scene of the crime. Well, it just so happens that the blood was the mayor's. So, what are you getting at? Hone your mind, boy. Why was there blood on that cloth? Solve that riddle and you shall see the hole you thought you found is but an illusion. Now let's see. How was that cloth used? Was it used?
To wrap the statue.
Maybe the alderman wrapped the statue in the cloth. In short, he wasn't touching the statue directly when he used it. He used it to strike back at the mayor. Precisely. Bully for you, boy. It was nothing.
Apollo, don't let him start manipulating you too. You just closed the hole for the prosecution.
I did? I did. Right. That a statue wrapped in cloth would leave no fingerprints is as plain as day. But also proves there are no holes in our theory of the alderman striking back. Oops. Moron.
Way to go, Apollo.
Now, do you see how dull your mind is? I'll make sure to sharpen it next time. A particularly frightening inmate once told me that. He always tenderly honed his blades before he went to work, like the samurai of yore. Samurai? Sounds more like a homicidal maniac to me! Actually, he was working in the prison kitchen at the time. Wait, so the inmate was a murdering samurai prison chef? Yes, let's just go with that.
Yeah, let's.
It would seem that the victim and his killer were the only ones there after all. I was kinda attached to that hole. Now what?
Apollo, I just thought of something. If they didn't find anyone's fingerprints on the statue, who's to say someone other than the alderman didn't hit the mayor with it?
Why didn't I think of that? Anybody could have not left prints on it. Then who, pray tell, struck the mayor with the statue? Please illuminate us with your wisdom, young lady.
There's only one answer. The real killer.
Prove the existence of this real killer then. What evidence have you?
Oh, I'll give you evidence, all right.
Athena, are you sure about this?
To borrow your words, Apollo, I'm fine. Take a look at this. Black feathers and tracks, allegedly from a yokai, were found at the scene. I believe they're from the third party who struck the mayor with that statue.
Is the defense actually suggesting some sort of monster killed that alderman?
That's exactly what I'm suggesting.
Objection!
No, Athena, you just lost what little credibility we had left.
Way to go, Athena! Sorry! Guess I got carried away.
Mr. Justice, we've no time to deal with objections between members of the defense. Sorry, Your Honor. It's just this kid's still, well, a kid.
Ouch! You meanie! I'm reporting this to Mr. Wright!
Mr. Wright's literally right there in the audience.
Oh yeah, you're right, I do see him.
So, is this court to believe the feathers and tracks are from a yokai, as you put it? No, Your Honor. I believe they're a fabrication. The real killer wants us to believe some sort of monster murdered the alderman. Interesting. Why do you suppose the killer would do that? Why indeed? Mr. Justice, you seem as new to this as your partner is. Ouch. This I'm not reporting to Mr. Wright. Mr. Wright is in the frickin' audience!
He's right there!
Oi, Fulbright. Explain to his baldness what these brats are missing. You know, the who and why behind those feathers and tracks. What? You mean you can explain all that? Our investigation prowess is without equal. I'm starting to think I chose the wrong profession. Very well. Let's hear about these so-called yokai feathers and tracks.
All right.
This entire case centers on one man's attempt to crush opposition to the municipal merger. Mayor Tenma panicked when the amazing Ninetales helped embolden the protesters. So he stoked the villagers' fears by fabricating a monster. The strange feathers and tracks he planted made it look like a yokai was the killer.
Aha.
Those feathers and tracks stoked the villagers' fears? Absolutely. He knew exactly how to prey on their superstitious minds. Those feathers only give weight to the idea that the alderman was slain by a demon. The accursed demon Tenma Taro, that is. Tenma who? Tenma Taro, the legendary demon locked away in the village's forbidden chamber. From a young age, the villagers are taught to fear the great black-feathered demon, and thus they are blinded to other, more plausible explanations.
Hold it!
Hold on for a second. Before we start letting our imaginations run wild, isn't there someone else who could be considered a suspect? Mr. Justice, please explain yourself. On the day of the incident, there was a special event held at QB Manor. As a part of this event, there was someone dressed in the likeness of Tenma Taro. Obviously, this person is much more likely suspect than any legendary demon.
Objection!
Dullard, you're playing right into the killer's mind games. What? Listen here. The feathers and tracks were merely red herrings. The villagers believed the murder to be the work of the real Tenma Taro. However, the police believe the person in the Tenma Taro suit is the killer. The defendant sought to sow this confusion in order to deflect blame away from himself. However, he was knocked unconscious by the alderman, and thus our mentally deficient mayor was caught red-handed at the scene of the crime.
Objection!
Do you honestly believe Mayor Tenma would do something so stupid?
Objection!
The evidence speaks for itself, Fulbright. Right. It was the mayor's last-ditch effort to stop the opposition before things got crazy. The amazing Ninetales was fueling both the yokai craze and the anti-merger movement. Plus, he's one of the better-known masked wrestlers and the hometown favorite. That's why the mayor panicked and set out on a path of injustice. But do people of Ninetales Vale really believe a yokai is behind the crime? Yokai sightings are an everyday event here, so I wouldn't be surprised if they did. I must say, a crime that preys upon innocent, impressionable minds. Just so, a particularly silver-tongued inmate once had the following words for me. The innocent of heart are the easiest prey. You don't say! Was this inmate a con artist? No. He was framed for the murder of his beloved. I actually felt sorry for the poor chap. Wait, so he wasn't the predator, but rather the prey? Yes, well... Now then, the defense may proceed with their cross-examination.
Pressed on the fourth statement.
Hold it!
But it doesn't add up. If what you say is true, why top it off with murder? What do you mean? You claim that our client planted the yokai evidence to stoke the villagers' fears. If so, then why not stop there? Why murder Alderman Cuby? Excellent point. It is, isn't it? Your Honor agrees there was no reason for the murder, correct?
Objection!
Perhaps the killing was on the spur of the moment. You're saying it wasn't premeditated? From the outset, I had no intention of paying heed to any of your babble. However, the fact is, the mayor made a startling discovery. A startling discovery? Why don't I like the sound of that? Alderman Cuby's secret identity.
Apollo. I think Prosecutor Blackwell has figured out the Alderman's secret identity. But even if he has, why would it be a motive for the mayor to commit murder?
This is not good. This patch of fur was discovered at the crime scene. It's from the mask worn by the amazing Ninetails. Therefore, we can conclude that this mask was at the crime scene. Oh my! But why would it have been there?
Dramatic turn.
The victim was a former pro wrestler and a member of the anti-merger movement. Need I say more? Well, could it really be? Your baldness has an epiphany, I see. Our victim, Rex QB, was the amazing Ninetails. And the mayor's discovery of this fact was his motive for murder. Oh boy.
Oh shit, this is bad. This is bad!
Order! Order! What a shocking development. A motive clearer than crystal clear.
What do we do now, Apollo?
I didn't think they'd tie the alderman's secret identity to the mayor's motive for murder. At last we've reached my real point. Why did the alderman have to forge a secret identity? Does it not pique your interest, your baldness? I admit it does. It is odd that he had to create this other persona, just to secretly participate in the anti-merger movement. Very astute of you, your baldness. Right, now take a look at this.
A blackmail letter?
If you value your dearest's life, you will merge Ninetails Vale with Tenma Town. This blackmail letter was found in Alderman QB's pocket.
And you didn't present this sooner. Why?
At present, the alderman's wife is in the hospital. And that letter is clear evidence the mayor was blackmailing him by threatening her life.
Well, wait. Didn't the blackmail letter sent to Mayor Tenma go missing? Right after the alderman's murder?
You think maybe the killer took the letter from the mayor after the murder? Ugh! Excuse me? You think maybe the killer took the letter from the mayor after the murder and planted it into the alderman's pocket?
It's possible, but we don't have any proof that's what happened.
Talk about being up the creek without a paddle.
Thank you.
Mayor Tenma would have made a clean getaway if he just left the left after planning the yokai things. But he was knocked out cold by his sudden decision to kill the amazing Ninetails. So it was the amazing Ninetails' counter-argument that brought the entire crime to light. Wait a sec. Fulbright's claiming that the mayor killed the alderman after planning the yokai evidence. And that the mayor was knocked out cold immediately after that. Detective Fulbright, please add your previous statement to your testimony.
This is new.
Mayor Tenma killed the sleeping alderman after planning the feathers and tracks.
Present the crime photo!
Objection!
Detective Fulbright, your sense of justice is anything but fair. What's this? You dare question my justice again? Yes, and I'm going to prove it to you. Take a look at this photo. This is the crime scene photo. And just what does this prove? It proves when the feathers and tracks were planted. But I already told you they were planted before the murder. The defendant planted the yokai evidence and was knocked out while killing his victim. But that would be impossible. If you look right here, it's clear when the feathers and tracks were... it's clear when the feathers and tracks were left at the scene.
The blood tracks.
Take that!
Aren't you just pointing to the yokai feathers and tracks, Mr. Justice? Yes. See how the feathers are on top of the blood and the tracks were made in blood? In other words, the yokai evidence could have only resulted after the murder. Then the mayor must have planted the evidence after killing the alderman. But you said it yourself. The mayor had been knocked unconscious thereafter. There would have been no time for him to plant any evidence at all. Therefore... There must have been There must have been someone else besides the mayor and the alderman at the crime scene. Ugh! There must be some mistake! Order! Order! Where's your evidence? You can't possibly have any, can you? Ha 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 ha! Evidence? Oh, I have evidence. In fact, I have an eyewitness's testimony for you. You do? But how? Ugh. Was my vaunted sense of justice really just half-baked?
He's taking this really hard.
Mr. Justice, what is this testimony regarding a third party that you claim to have? I have it right here, Your Honor. It's the sworn testimony of Mr. Tenma's daughter. The witness, Jinxie Tenma, saw a yokai in the hallway after stumbling upon the scene. It was the demon Tenma Taro. He's the source of those feathers and tracks. Will somebody please say something? The defense will explain to the court exactly what he means. You dare mock this court of justice itself? You're unfit to bear your name, boy! Your baldness. It appears our defense attorney here is delirious from exhaustion.
Hold it! Apollo! Think of something quick before you're held in contempt of court.
What do you think I'm trying to do? Before you decide whether I should step down, please hear me out. Very well, Mr. Justice, I'm all ears. But you had better explain yourself well. What was this yokai you were talking about? It's all in the statement here. Jinxie Tenma asserts that she saw Tenma Taro after she discovered the crime scene and called the police. She came around a corner in the hall. It was around here that she saw Tenma Taro fleeing towards the foyer. The defense asserts that whoever was impersonating this monster is the one who left those feathers and tracks behind, intentionally or otherwise. What? How incredibly unjust! Why haven't I heard about this before? The defense just proved someone...
So the Mirrors is a killer?
Is it a setup? The prosecutor's a convicted felon, after all.
Apollo! The momentum has shifted in our favor.
Hey, it's 2025. Being a convicted felon doesn't stop you from getting a job these days. Good. Now let's keep it that way.
Objection!
What now?
Little do you realize that though you are in the midst of a fray, your sword is broken. My sword? I didn't know I had one to break. Are you implying that there's a problem with my claim? Consider this. If that yokai impersonator had indeed fled toward the foyer, that fool and that fop would have seen him. Fool and fop? Oh, you mean Filch and LaBelle? Now that you mention it. Both Phineas Filch and Florent LaBelle were in the foyer at the time, but they haven't stated that they saw a yokai, have they? Did you ever consider that yokai was but a figment of the scared little girl's imagination? Why didn't those two see the Tenma Taro impersonator pass by?
Why don't we ask them ourselves?
I was just about to say that myself. No, really, I was! The defense would like to call Mr. Phineas Filch, caretaker of QB Manor, to the stand. I just know he must have seen something. I suppose we can ignore the fact that the little girl believes she saw a monster. I trust you have no objections to Mr. Justice's request, Prosecutor Blackquill. I understand that Mr. Filch is enjoying a nap out in the lobby. I knew that Tanuki was a rare find. But when we captured him, I didn't think he'd end up a witness. Do with him as you will. Did he just say captured? No, wait. I don't want to know. Very well. Then, bailiff, please go wake Mr. Filch and escort him to the witness stand. Will the witness state his name and occupation, please? The name's Filch. Phineas Filch, caretaker of QB Manor. Oh, and, this is for you, your lordship. Just a little something I thought you might like. Oh my, what a fabulous pair of shoes. And your honor will do just fine, Mr. Filch. Ah, it's those shoes again.
Don't they belong to Detective Fulbright?
Don't tell me Filch stole them again. They're all yours.
I swear, Filch has a foot fetish.
They're all yours, your honorship, sir. What? But they seem awfully expensive. Yep, too expensive for me, but I reckon they'd be perfect for someone like your honorship. It's a kind gesture, but legal ethics dictate I can't accept such gifts. Aw, ethics schmeffics, just take them if you want them. Polish them up real nice for you, too. I'm sorry about the shoes, Mr. Filch, but I will accept your testimony. The court would like to hear whether you saw Tenmataro in the foyer after the murder. At the time of the murder, I was on guard duty in the foyer, just like Mr. Cuba asked. I was making sure no one, fair, foul, fishy, or otherwise, could get to our guest. I was still in my office keeping a good watch when the murder happened after 3 p.m., but I didn't see nothing out of the ordinary. No siree! That yokai you keep jabbering on about was but a phantom of the little girl's dreams. So you're telling me So you're telling this court you never saw anyone dressed up like Tenmataro? Yep, was guarding the whole time. That's the truth, the holy truth, nutter butter the truth. And Tenmataro? Bah! You don't really believe in all that yokai mumbo jumbo, do you? I certainly don't. Oop.
Uh-oh.
My bracelet. It's...
Something the matter, Apollo?
My bracelet keeps squeezing my arm.
Really? So you think Mr. Filch has been lying to us?
I wouldn't rule it out. Now, if I could just zero in on a tell. Some sort of nervous habit. Ah! What in the... What's this hawk doing in here?
Hello, Taka.
Allow me to introduce my trusty cohort, Taka.
Which is funny, because Taka is hawk in Japanese. Taka's name is Hawk.
He seems to have taken quite a liking to the courthouse. Made it his new home, in fact. He doesn't live with you, you know, in jail. Never heard of a courthouse bird. Taka simply loathes trickery and fraud. And that queer power of yours seems to have offended my dear bosom buzzard. This isn't some sort of trick or... Ah! I swear to God! I won't be able to spot squat like this. What the heck's going on around here? Right for the hills! No pets or animals allowed in the courtroom! Somebody help! Oh, he's merely having a bit of sport. He won't harm you, save when truly famished. In that case, Prosecutor Blackquill, you ensure your feathered friend is properly fed, and make sure he doesn't shit in my head, please.
Looks like we have to deal with this the old-fashioned way.
We'll be fine, I think. If there was someone dressed as Tenmataro there, Filch should have seen him. We'll just have to put our faith in Jinxie's statement for now. Mr. Justice, please proceed with your cross-examination.
And get this bird off my head!
What is it with this attorney and birds?
Present the TV listings on the third statement.
Objection!
Don't lie to the court like that, Mr. Filch. Hey, it ain't right to bushwhack a fella like that. Unfortunately for you, I have evidence that proves you're lying. If you look at this TV listing here, you'll see that at the time of the crime, there was a pro wrestling match scheduled. Something you'd never miss. Ah! I didn't watch that one! No siree! I was doing my job like I was supposed to! This guy doesn't know when to give up. Mr. Filch, someone even circled the match. It was you, right? Yipes! Not only that, you even told me you watched it. You said, and I quote, "It was a complete disaster." Ugh! So, you do admit to slacking off. You can't trick me with your Rudy Poo lawyer talk! I'm one of their professional tops, too! I could do double duty watching TV in the foyer and the foyer at the same time! The only thing Filch can claim to be a professional of is professional thief. Mr. Justice, you would have this court believe the witness was slacking off and the bird's gone.
Yep.
That's correct. He claims to have been watching TV and the foyer at the same time. But that's nothing but a bald-faced lie. Bald, you say? But I'm not the one who's lying. Perhaps you meant the witness, Mr. Justice. And in that case, let's see what evidence you can offer. You claim Mr. Filch is lying about watching TV and the foyer simultaneously. Now prove it.
The foyer diagram.
Take that!
Please take a look at the direction of the TV. Please take a look at the direction the TV is facing in this diagram. Now, unless Mr. Filch has eyes where his right ear should be, I think it would be impossible to watch the foyer entrance and the TV at the same time. Why, yes! Someone's watching TV there couldn't possibly see the entrance. Exactly. And that means, Mr. Filch, you were slacking off and you were not watching the foyer as you claim. Yikes! The bag's out of the cat. I mean, the other way around. He's got to stand because he's so short. Order! 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 But Mr. Justice, is Mr. Filch's less than stellar work ethic relevant to this case? It's very relevant because while he was slacking off watching TV, there really could have been a Ten Mataro impersonator in the foyer.
Objection!
What now? Granted, this Tanuki was lax in his duties, but he still had the foyer entrance covered. What are you talking about?
Aww. Cute.
This. I'm not a mind reader.
I love how the hawk's eyes popped out like, what?
Auditory sense. His eyes may have been slacking off, but his ears were still hard at work. Right, Tanuki? They were? I mean, yeah! Yes, they were! But you already admitted to slacking off. Now you say you weren't? My eyes might be lazy, but my ears ain't. I would have heard anyone in the foyer. You see, the foyer floor and the stairway get all creaky-squeaky when someone walks on them. Creak! 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 Loud enough to wake the dead, I reckon. So, you're saying you didn't hear anybody walk by? Yep, my ears were working full time. So who's the liar now, you no-good shyster? A lying thief calling me a shyster. This has to be the low point of my fledgling career. Gotta hand it to you, Mr. Blackwell, sir. You really are something else. I reckon you don't mind a thing. And them bags under your eyes, they're darker than mine. Fair warning, Mr. Filch. Taka is particularly fond of Tanuki. Should you lie to this court again, you may suddenly find yourself on the menu. Yipes! Please don't eat me, Mr. Taka, sir! The witness will henceforth testify truthfully under penalty of painful bird attacks. And with that in mind, the court requests the witness revise his testimony accordingly. It's true. I was watching a pro wrestling match on the office TV. My eyes might have been slacking off, but my ears, they were working overtime. The floor there is all creaky squeaky like. No way they would have missed someone walking by. So you see, there weren't no Ten Mataro in the foyer. Superstition is the religion of feeble minds. Understand? A simple, rational explanation is best. Forget yokai, demons, and such. We must use common sense. For lacking that, our entire world would be upside down. Says the convict prosecutor who is totally a sign of the end of times for the legal world. Oh, it's gonna get worse in the future, Apollo. Trust me.
Yep.
And
Welcome to the future.
Besides, if there were any yokai roaming about, I'd nab them and sell them at the zoo.
I wonder whether Jinxie was just seeing things.
This seems to be the general consensus, but I'm sticking to my guns.
If we can't prove she saw Tenmataro, the mayor's sure to be convicted.
Yes, they are in the future. This game is set in 2027, just a couple of years later.
Yeah.
Then we better hope my gun fires bullets, not BBs. The defense may cross-examine the witness.
Press on the third statement.
Hold it!
So you have pretty good ears, Mr. Finch. As good as they come, I'd say. Ain't nothing to hear a creaky floor. Plus, that Tenmataro makes a sound when he goes by. It's like a jingle jangle.
Jangle, jangle.
Jingle jangle. How does he do that? It's that staff of his. That's what jingle jangles.
What's he talking about, Apollo?
Beats me, but I guess Tenmataro has a staff that makes noise.
Come to think of it, didn't Jinxie mention something like that too? She said she saw Tenmataro holding a staff-like object that made a jangly sound.
I guess that's the source of the noise then. Well, Mr. Justice? Mr. Filch says Tenmataro jingle jangles. Would you consider that vital information?
Yes, very important.
Extremely vital. I requested it be added to his testimony.
This is new.
If Tenmataro was to pass by, his staff would have gone jingle jangle.
Present the Yokai Legend Scroll.
Objection!
Tenmataro's staff would make a jangly sound, you say? Well, I'm going to say that your story doesn't add up. Is there something the defense would like to share with the court? Mr. Filch, you say you didn't see Tenmataro on the day of the incident. Why then did you assume that just now that Tenmataro would be holding a staff? Huh? You see, the Tenmataro Jinxie saw held a staff in his hands. And she described its sound just like you did, a kind of jangly sound. Yeah, so he was holding a staff. What's your point?
Objection!
The point is that Tenmataro doesn't use a staff, not normally. What are you talking about? You see, this is the only known document depicting Tenmataro. Is there a staff in this picture, Mr. Filch? You're right, there's no staff. Not even a cane or a walking stick. Ah! So the question is, why does the witness think Tenmataro uses a staff? I believe the answer will overturn the prosecution's case on the most basic level. Well now, this is getting interesting. Alright, Mr. Justice, it's time to show the court where you're going with this. Please tell the court why Mr. Filch believes Tenmataro carries a staff.
He actually saw Tenmataro.
Mr. Filch actually saw Tenmataro right after the crime occurred. That's the only way he could possibly know about the staff. Busted again! Oh, bloody hell! Yes, how'd that feel, Black Quill? Not so fun when you're on the receiving end of the blade, is it?
Damn.
Admit it, Mr. Filch. You did see Tenmataro that day, didn't you? Well? I'm begging you, please don't make me say it! But clearly you did see Tenmataro. Stop stalling and testify to that fact. No can do! No way! No how! You ain't got no idea how terrifying he could be! He?
What?
Mr.
Huh?
Filch still won't admit to seeing Tenmataro, even though everyone knows he did. The question now is, why?
Mr. Filch is scared to death.
Is that why he can't admit the truth?
Kind of think of it. They say you must not gaze upon Tenmataro. But in the event that you do look, and then tell anyone what you saw, Tenmataro will claim your soul. Jinxie wouldn't admit to seeing Tenmataro after hearing about the village superstitions. She said that if she told anyone that she had seen Tenmataro, he'd claim her soul.
Wait, you think Filch believes that too? So Mr. Big Time City Slicker Lawyer has heard about him? Them old village superstitions? Will the defense please explain what the witness is talking about before I have an aneurysm? The people of Ninetailsville believe some pretty strange things, and their superstitions may be the reason our witness here can't admit the truth. The truth is that he really did see Tenmataro. Guard straight, that's why! It's all right here! Do not gaze upon Tenmataro. Blah, blah, blah. Ignoring the superstitions will cost you your soul? See? That's why us folk in Ninetailsville can't talk about seeing Tenmataro, but you said earlier you didn't believe those superstitions.
I know, right?
Our memories aren't that short term.
I know, right? We're not stupid.
That clears up one mystery. The killer took advantage of the superstitions by wearing a Tenmataro costume. They knew that way no one could talk about him, so it was as if he never existed. The defense holds this Tenmataro impersonator as the true killer. What?
Objection!
Superstitions, you say? What kind of a fool would actually believe such rubbish? And would that using some silly fairy tale could easily expose the culprit? You'll need to come up with a more rational, common-sense explanation than that.
Objection!
Your common sense seems awfully narrow-minded to me, Prosecutor Blackquill.
Objection!
Try living in my world of narrow cells, mortal danger, and dark, sleepless nights. There is no lack of superstitions in the Clink, but few are those who truly believe in them.
Objection!
Well, the village superstitions are real enough to the people of Ninetailsvale. A life-or-death situation might even make you a believer. A life-or-death superstition might even make you a believer. Up. Order! Order, I say! You fool of a Tanuki! 2 times now your lies have cost me! Sorry! I promise not to do it again! Yeah, right.
Yeah, asshole.
Taka, my fine feathered friend. Have at him! Yipes!
Yeah.
He's gonna eat me alive! Head for the hills! Oh, and he's gone.
Goodbye.
He took off. The bailiff! What are you waiting for? After him, and with your fastest men!
That's certainly not something you'd see every day.
Well, it would seem a new and important fact has come to light. A third party disguised as the yokai Tenmataro was at the scene. And now we have 2 witnesses who can attest to that fact. Any objections, Prosecutor Blackquill? Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
What?
Huh? His shackles! Too young to die! Justice, Dodo. Long has it been since I've been forced to draw my blade. You had best say your prayers.
I'm gross!
For fuck's sake. Eek! Detective, do something! Have no fear, Fulbright is here. When the going gets tough, the champion of justice gets going.
Objection!
Then get going already before he kills us! Oh, but I stand in the awe of Simon Blackquill, for it is his sense of justice that set him free. Objection! Objection! I object to Detective Fulbright's definition of justice.
Silence!
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I'm not in the habit of cutting down unarmed cowards. Oh, well, in that case, Prosecutor Blackquill, can I ask you to, I think the judge forgot he's in charge here. So, Justice Dono's assertion is this. Tenma Taro is the real killer, not Mayor Tenma. According to him, there was a yokai at the scene of the crime. Right, and that yokai, or rather, whoever was impersonating him and killed Alderman Kyubi.
Silence!
Please stop doing that! Care to explain why Jinxie, being the first to discover the murder, did not see your alleged killer yokai there in the Fox Chamber? What? Oh, he's right. She said nothing about Tenma Taro being in the Fox Chamber. Let me enlighten you. That little scamp heard a dying scream right before she opened the chamber door. And your point is? Upon opening the door, she found a freshly skewed murder victim, the Alderman, and the homicidal maniac who had killed him, the Mayor. No, there must have been someone dressed up like I'm gonna lose my head at this rate! Then why does that little scamp claim not to have seen a yokai in the Fox Chamber? Considering her father is accused of murder, surely she would have mentioned any third party that might have been in the room. I don't understand. Why didn't she see Tenma Taro inside the Fox Chamber? There is but one way to find out. Ask Jinxie Tenma whether she saw your killer yokai at the scene of the crime. Uh-oh. The final battle draws nigh. Only one of us will leave here alive. Long has my blade thirsted for blood. At long last it shall be sated. Wait, is this is still a trial, right? Show me what you're truly capable of, Justice Dono. Very well then. Both parties no doubt need some time to regroup. So the court will take a 10-minute recess in order to 3 minutes. I'm sorry, but a 3-minute recess? Just so, plenty of time if your destination of intent is the loo, which is British slang for toilet.
Yep.
The loo? You mean the bathroom? Sheesh. At least include enough time to wash our hands. See that you take no more than 3 minutes. All latecomers will be punished. Yes, sir. I hereby declare a 3-minute recess before the battle begins.
I declare Prosecutor Blackquill the winner of this round for Simon Says.
Doesn't bode well for us if the prosecutor is running the show, does it?
He busted out of his shackles.
Yeah, what was that all about? Guess they don't make shackles like they used to.
Better be careful, Apollo. You've really brought out the samurai in him. Especially after you proved there was a Tenma Taro impersonator at the manor.
What's with that guy in the whole samurai act anyway? Such fine swordsmanship. That is no mere act. Mr. Justice, it's high time I challenge this jailhouse prosecutor to a duel. No, wait, let's save the dueling until after we prove your innocence. I suppose it could wait till later. Does anyone remember we're conducting a trial here? Obviously not. Athena, I'm gonna go wash up.
Remember what Blackwell said, don't be late.
Yeah, I know. I'm probably gonna change my underwear while I'm at it. Because he probably shit himself in there.
No doubt about that.
Now then, I believe our next witness is Miss Jinxie Tenma, a maid at QB Manor. I believe we can proceed now, if the witness is ready, that is.
Nurahyun, leader of the 100 demons, he really does exist! Wow, that is one polished tray.
The witness will show her face while in court, or her testimony will be inadmissible. What is it? What is it, my child?
Be gone! Nurahyun, leader of the 100 demons!
You think I'm a yokai? Well, I was once known as a judicial monster of sorts. The beast of the bar, the demon of due process, if you will.
Your tremor's no effect! The demon of due process? Now, I'm sure I can see that one.
Now, you little scamp.
Yes?
I trust you know why you're here.
Bags.
Bags? Oh, that Trixie Tanuki? Try the noodle stand, and go enjoy a big bowl of Tanuki tail noodles while you're at it. Everyone's a comedian.
No, I meant your bags. The ones under your eyes. You must have trouble sleeping. Here, this charm will keep, Azukirai away.
Azukiari? The yokai that washes Azuki beans? The only thing need washing will be your father's neck before I take his head clean off.
Azukiarai. Azukiarai often keeps people at night with the noise he makes washing beans. But if you stick this charm on your forehead, you won't hear him anymore.
Is that so? Well, thank you.
Looks like Prosecutor Blackwell got more than he bargained for.
They're bad enough alone, but together, those two are just plain creepy. Your testimony, if you please, Miss Tenma. Specifically, whether or not you saw Tenma Taro when you discovered the crime scene.
Did I see Tenma Taro in the Fox Chamber? Well, when I opened the door, I saw, yes, now I remember. Yokai, right in that room. Yep, she ain't budging.
So there was a yokai at the scene of the crime.
Lots and lots of them.
Wait, more than one yokai? Did Tenma Taro happen to be among them?
I don't know. I just don't know. I know the room was swimming in yokai. Kasha, Narukabe, Sato Hoshio, they were all there!
Well, this is an unexpected turn of events. We've gone from no yokai to a flood of them. This is ludicrous. You would have this court listen to this delusional little scamp's testimony?
Hold it! Your Honor, I believe her memory is simply clouded by fear. But a quick therapy session should ease her mind. With the court's permission, of course.
What a fabulous idea! Please proceed, Miss Sykes. You sure you know what you're doing, Athena?
She's obviously on herself. The trauma of discovering that crime scene. And fear of testifying have had her dazed and confused. A regular ball of confusion. But my analytical psychology-based approach should be able to help. Mood Matrix time!
Any objections, Prosecutor Blackquill? Shall we let Miss Sykes proceed? It makes no difference to me. Do as you will, but I doubt we shall get any viable testimony. She'd be better served by bearing witness to the sword skills I forged in a distant land.
I'll show you. Did I see Temotaro in the fox chamber? Well, when I opened the door, I saw! Now I remember. Yokai right there in that room! Found something. Looks like an out-of-control emotion.
Athena, what exactly are we looking at here?
Oh, this? It's one of the widget's functions. Right here you can see images and emotions extracted from the witness's voice.
Whoa, you mean that little thing can do all this?
Pretty cool, huh?
Here I thought it was just some kid's toy.
Unfortunately, all I'm getting is an overflow of error right now. Did I see Temotaro in the fox chamber? See how sad is brightly lit there at the bottom left? Next. She's under an uncontrollable amount of distress, which is masking her other emotions. It seems the sheer terror she experienced has made her a confused mess.
So, all those yokai she thinks she saw are a product of rampant emotions?
Yes, that's right. Her fear has instilled in her hallucinations and false memories. She's seeing normal everyday objects as monsters in her mind. It's a form of schizophrenic hallucination brought on by emotional trauma. And the trauma in Jinxie's case is fear.
So she was and still is seeing ordinary objects as yokai.
We'll have to find the root cause of her extreme fear before I can treat it. Now, let's see. Apollo, can you point out the yokai on the Wheel of Fire? Yes. She seems particularly terrified of that one. Start by pressing Probe, LB. Next, point to what's causing Jinxie's out-of-control emotion. Finally, hit Probe again, Y, to try and get to the heart of the matter.
Okay, let's give this a try.
Alright, the cat wheel on fire.
Press the probe button, L1.
The cat. There!
Got it!
Jinxie, what's the name of that yokai in the Wheel of Fire?
That's Akasha, a yokai that steals the bodies of the recently deceased. I bet it came to steal the Eldermans.
It's almost creepy how well that fits the actual situation.
Exactly. It's a form of hallucination where the patient can't see things for what they are. There must be something in the scene at the crime that she's mistaking Akasha. Apollo, you need to point out what she thought was a yokai on a Wheel of Fire.
I think I know the answer now. Jinxie, that wasn't Akasha you saw. Could you have possibly mistaken this for Akasha?
The light fixture.
Take that!
The light fixture?
This one right here. It has a flame design, and it's up there on the ceiling. There was never a yokai on the Wheel of Fire. The Akasha you saw was just a light fixture.
Okay. That's one memory back to normal. Nice job. Now you've got the hang of it, it should be a cinch to point out the rest.
Jinxie, what about this white wall-like monster?
That's the nerdy Kabe. It's a wall monster that blocks your way or leads you astray.
That's no yokai, Jinxie. It's a folding screen. And this raccoon dog isn't a tanuki monster. It's just a statue of one. And look, these are just coffee cups. And this right here is nothing more than a fox statue.
I don't know what I was thinking.
And the tree has suddenly repaired itself.
Almost there. You did, Apollo. Her extreme fear is under control now. It was all just my eyes playing tricks on me. They weren't any yokai after all. See? A clear-cut statement. That's the power of my psychology and your intuition, Apollo. And just like we thought, there never really were any yokai in the Fox Chamber.
Right. There never really were any yokai there. So the defense is asserting the exact opposite of their original assertion. Wait. Jinxie, what about Tenmataro?
There wasn't anyone there dressed up as Tomataro or any other yokai either. I remember it clearly now.
You
Gotta!
be joking!
Ding!
Order! Order in the court! I think we just dug our own grave. Allow me to push you on in. It's the least I could do. Please stop doing that.
Apollo, can I interrupt your freakout for just a minute? I'm still picking up some noise. It's an unexpected emotion.
Does that mean Jinxie hasn't remembered everything yet?
Exactly. We should be able to do something else out of her. I'll enter the new information we have and run an update. Did I see Tomataro in the Fox Chamber? I was so scared when I entered the room. My legs gave out and I fell to the floor. There in the Fox Chamber, I saw the Alderman dead on a table and Papa collapsed in a chair. Nobody else was there, and that includes Tomataro. Okay. Pinpoint the sadness on the third statement. The sadness. Pinpoint her sadness.
Got it!
The amount of fear you felt is rather low, despite your legs having given out from fright. Could something have lessened your fear?
Actually, I did experience a sudden burst of courage at the moment.
You did? Where did it come from?
Let me think. Oh, it was Mama. I suddenly felt as if she was there with me. Okay, I'll enter a sudden burst of courage. Now let's see. Ah! Look! Apollo, the noise is all gone. Jinxie seems to have remembered everything now. Did it! Bye-bye.
A sudden burst of courage. Now where could that have come from? Jinxie, was there something that gave you a sudden burst of courage?
Yes, there was, but, I realized I had done something naughty when I thought about it later. Any idea what could have given Jinxie that courage?
Well, there is one piece of evidence that comes to mind. I wonder if she saw something like it at the scene of the crime. Jinxie, did your sudden burst of courage have anything to do with this?
The Nine-Tails Foxflower.
Take that!
Jinxie, you didn't happen to see a Nine-Tails flower at the scene, did you?
The demon lawyer strikes again! I can't hide anything from you. I found a small case with a picture of the Nine-Tails flower on it. I liked it so much I kept it.
You what? You can't remove evidence from a crime scene? That's right, young lady. Removing evidence is a big no-no. Now, the witness will produce said evidence this instant.
Sorry.
Yeah, in real life, that would probably land her jail time.
Yep.
It does seem to be some sort of case. Oh, look, something slid out.
A key.
It appears to be a key. Might I have a look, your baldness? Ah. This is none other than the master key to QB Manor. Are you certain of this, Prosecutor Blackquill? It matches the serial number of the key that went missing after the murder. A master key that went missing? Why don't I like the sound of that? Or our little scamp here has stumbled upon an article of unimaginable consequence. That's a little melodramatic, don't you think? Heed these words, for I shall say them but once. The sole key to the Fox Chamber has been in this little scamp's constant possession. Ergo, she was the sole person who could use it before, during, and after the murder, which leaves the master key as the only other key that could have opened the chamber. But this master key was found in a room that had been locked by this girl. And your point is? Until Jinxie Tenma opened the Fox Chamber with her key, the room had been locked tight from the outside world, and there was no one else in there save the victim and his killer. I trust you figured it out for yourself by now. A killer other than Mayor Tenma himself would be utterly inconceivable.
Objection! How could this happen?
The defense's assistant will refrain from growling her frustrations. Athena, are you alright?
I know Mayor Tenma's innocent, but there's nothing we can do! It sucks!
Sykes, Dono. Allow me to put you out of your misery.
Can I decline your offer?
Abandon your client and your misplaced faith in him. Let the relief of a clear head and a clean conscience come rushing in. That will make the inevitable guilty verdict far easier to accept. Great, now he's playing Simon Says with us. Well, he's not going to fool us with his stupid mind games. Athena, don't fall for his tricks.
Now I'm the one who's dazed and confused. I can't even think straight.
Hey, are you alright? She fell right into his trap. Now I suggest you make a mad dash from the courtroom and into the wild blue yonder. Only by running shall your mind be cleared and your conscience cleansed.
Alright, I'll be back in 10. Hey!
No, you won't. Stay with me, Athena. Don't let yourself be twisted by that samurai.
Apollo?
Mr. Justice, I heard the word objection, but what is it you object to? Huh? Oh, right. That objection was more of a reflex than anything else. Though I was hoping something would come to me while I was trying to stop Athena. The court is waiting, Mr. Justice. Though, as it stands now, I'll be forced to declare your client guilty and your legal skills suspect if this is it. Now, do you have anything that could overturn the prosecution's case? Well, actually, I do! I'm Apollo Justice, and I'm fine!
Apollo, you do have something more than your court of steel, don't you?
Not really, but we'll be fine!
But...
I've got absolutely nothing, but that's never stopped me before. I have to explain how the real killer could have escaped that locked room. But it's all over if I don't.
Apollo, this calls for a new approach. Try to think outside the box.
Or in this case, inside the box. And what a doozy that locked room is, too. Well, Mr. Justice, do you have anything that can counter the prosecution's argument? You bet I do! The real killer must have escaped from the locked room one way or another. Vague conjecture shall only earn you a taste of my blade, Justice Dono. Time to do or die, literally. The defense will now explain how it would be possible to escape the locked room.
You sure about this, Apollo? Can you really explain what happened?
I'm fine! We just need to think this whole escaping a locked room thing over from the beginning. So, let's see. If the killer had escaped, how could they have done so?
The quarters are pretty limited. The room has a window, but... it doesn't open wide enough for anyone to get through, and there's a sheer cliff outside. As for the air vent, it's up too high, and there's nothing you could stand on to reach it. And needless to say, the forbidden chamber wouldn't open no matter what we did, so that's out.
Yeah, that's why we gotta keep the solution simple. Like they say, simple is best. We need to rule out all the absolutely impossible escape routes. Then whatever's left just might lead us to how the Fox Chamber was compromised. Your Honor, the defense proposes that the killer escaped through here.
The hallway door.
This door?
I believe so, yes.
Take that!
The hallway door? Well, yes, I suppose that would be the only way out. It would appear you've already forgotten. The only available key until Jinxie Tenma came on scene was within that locked room. How would one exit the Fox Chamber and then lock it without a key? I should have seen this coming.
Remember, Apollo, keep it simple.
Simple, right. I could understand if the killer had exited the room with a key, but... Well, Mr. Justice? The prosecution has some fine Japanese steel waiting unless you explain yourself quickly. I'm fine! I can explain myself. The reason the Fox Chamber's hallway door was locked was because...
The perp locked it from outside!
What if the room was locked from the outside? In other words, the killer took the key through... Ow! Consider this. The master key was found inside the tightly locked Fox Chamber. Any assertion that this key was removed from the room is blatant contradiction of fact.
Exiting the room before locking the door would require taking the key outside. But the key was found inside the room, which does seem like a contradiction.
If only we could explain both. Like how the key could be inside the room and be used to lock the door from the outside. Well, let's see if the defense can respond before Prosecutor Blackquill draws his sword. How could the master key be at the crime scene despite the room being locked tight?
He threw it from outside.
What if someone threw it into the room from outside? You know, something like go out the hallway door, lock the room, and then toss the key back through the window? That would explain how the master key could be inside the locked room. And where would you throw it from? There's a cliff outside the Fox Chamber's window. Throwing the key in there throwing the key in from there is an impossibility. Oh, right.
I wonder if the key could have been tossed in from somewhere other than the window.
Somewhere other than the window? Could the key have been tossed in through somewhere other than the window?
The air duct.
Take that!
The air vent. Yes, the window may be out of the question, but the air vent's not.
Oh, that's right! The Fox Chamber's air duct leads out into the hallway.
That's right, the real killer entered the air duct from the vent outside the Fox Chamber. Then dropped the key into the room, though through the vent inside the chamber. Ugh! That's preposterous.
Ooh, that explains how the key gun there after was used to lock the door perfectly.
Mr. Justice, I'm afraid I'm a bit confused. Don't worry. I'll explain it so even your honor can understand. Wow, tell me how you really feel, Apollo.
Damn!
First, the real killer disguised as Tenmataro murdered the alderman in the Fox chamber. Then, they fled the room through the hallway door and locked it. Next, they entered the air duct from the vent outside in the hallway. Finally, the killer tossed the key into the room through the air vent in the ceiling there. All that was left to do after that was go back through the duct and flee the manor. Well, Your Honor, could that be any clearer? Amazing! Even I could follow that. But you're still a little shit.
The judge seems really pleased.
That explains everything. The real killer was someone dressed up like Tenmataro. And there was someone else other than the mayor and the alderman in that room. Hey, it looks like the lawyer's beaten the jailbird prosecutor. Whoa, that was a total turnabout.
The massive forehead seems so much more attractive now.
Order, 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 I say! Now that I've proved a possible third party, I don't see how our client could be guilty.
Silence!
A valiant effort, Justice Dodo, but your final thrust missed its mark. Huh? Both that little scamp and the tricksy Tanuki saw the yokai after it left the room. But then what? Did that irksome yokai simply go through the foyer and waltz right out the front door? That's exactly what happened. The killer fled from the... But that is impossible, without being spotted by the foyer's security camera, that is. The electric eye here would have captured any pesky little yokai trying to escape. However, there is no sign of Tenmataro anywhere in the security footage. But what? Save for the foyer entrance, there was no other way to flee the manor, is there? I don't feel so good.
Hold it! Well, I believe there is one other way to escape besides the foyer entrance. There's a large window in the foyer. It's possible to escape through here without being seen by the security camera.
Hey, you're right!
Silence!
Must I point out every crucial detail in the defense? It seems you lack not only brains, but investigative prowess to boot. That is the cliffside of the manor. The only killer escaping that way would be a dead one.
No!
Non? French?
Non!
Wait, so the killer didn't escape out the foyer window?
What the heck, right?
Huh. I suppose your next proposal is the killer sprouted wings and flew off into the sunset. That would mean the killer really was a yokai.
If only we had some sort of evidence that could point to a flying killer.
Who's saying we don't? As completely far-fetched as it might be.
What? You're saying you can prove the killer could fly?
Whoa! I thought I was the only one with the cords of steel. Oh, I can't wait to hear this. Your Honor? What evidence do you have that the killer flew away?
The special edition paper.
Take that!
Take a look at this special edition paper. Tenmataro, real or flight of fancy. Tenmataro, real or flight of fancy. What does this article prove, Mr. Justice? The photo in the article was taken shortly after the murder. Maybe the yokai in that photo was the killer shortly after they fled out of the window? But, Mr. Justice, you're not seriously suggesting... Oh, I'm serious. I mean, it all adds up. The killer, disguised as Tenmataro, flew away, by some way or another.
Silence!
Is it your brain that has flown the coop? That image is not but trick photography, or some other form of artifice. Artifice? Okay then, how about the Tenmataro figure Mr. Filch saw? It just vanished into thin air? No, there is a rational common sense explanation for that. That infernal yokai or tricksy tanuki witness never reached the entrance. He, or should I say she, turned back before the camera's electric eye. She? I don't like where this is going one bit. Now the fact we know the yokai had come from the Fox Chamber means that it was likely either Mayor Damien Tenma or his daughter Jinxie Tenma. However, we know that Mayor Tenma was already unconscious at the time. Not good. Not good at all. Do you understand the gravity of the situation now, Justice Dono? The falsified yokai remnants and the appearance of Tenmataru were the work of one individual. And that individual is none other than Jinxie Tenma. Order! Order! The defense will stop competing for the greatest freakout ever! The little scamp was no doubt simply trying to protect her father. And it's no wonder that her superstitious mind conjured up this mad masquerade. Oh, excuse me. Prosecutor Blackwell's assertion makes perfect sense to me. It's far more convincing than saying the killer escaped by flying out the window. Did you truly believe this could end any other... I better get a drink. 2 seconds.
It's okay, we're almost done. We're almost there.
I know. Did you truly believe this could end any other way? Did we fall right into his trap?
What do we do now, Apollo?
Our case no longer stands without a real yokai. If only we had one. Bailiff, seize her. It is time I interrogated her as the samurai of yore would. Oh.
Ah. Mayor Tenma?
This farce is over. How does it feel seeing your own daughter accused of a cover-up most foul? Tenmataro's true identity is... Now, Mr. Mayor, it would be futile at this point to claim you were the yokai. After all, you had been knocked out cold by a blow to the skull. Slipping into a yokai costume and roaming about the manor would be all but impossible. Consider this well. As it stands, your daughter will be arrested for obstruction of justice. But if you confess, the prosecution would be willing to overlook her little yokai farce. Confess? The defendant intends to confess? Wait.
Apollo! Prosecutor Blackwell's up to his mind games again.
Mayor Tenma, no! Don't fall for his twisted words. If you're sent away for murder, Jinxie will be left all alone. The real killer is...
Mayor Tenma's going to confess unless we do something!
But I can't prove how the real killer could have flown away. Call. Look upon me in despair, for ripe is the time for my return. Uh-oh. I should watch what I wish for.
What?
Foolish mortals! I am Tenma Taro, the yokai you seek! Mayor Tenma? Silence! I am Tenma Taro, freed from the bonds binding me to the Forbidden Chamber. Behold, the return of the Demon King! What the...
Demon King?
Well then, I think it's time for me to take a vacation. The witness will, he will explain himself. Are you saying you're Tenma Taro, the yokai we've been chasing this whole time? Indeed, it is I, Tenma Taro, the one whom you seek, come to reveal the truth. This child is Tenma Taro, you say? Ha! What nonsense! So, Mayor Tenma is a yokai now? His body is now mine! Oh, sorry, I've got a tickle in my throat.
Are you alright?
Yeah, just a tickle. Be a second. Tickles in the throat are the worst, I swear.
I know.
So you're saying that Mayor Tenma is being possessed by you? And that the yokai that Jinxie Tenma and Phineas Filch saw? And the one captured in the newspaper photo, those were all you? The accursed power of those warding charms prevent me from revealing my true form. Your baldness. Can this not be interpreted as an admission of guilt? Well, a confession by a yokai would be quite unprecedented. Be that as it may, the defense's case has been overturned. Huh? What? You claim the yokai that little scamp saw was some third party, the true killer. The one who escaped from the locked fox chamber. But it was the accused all along. Ironic, is it not? Your yokai turned out to be real in a manner of speaking. For the Alderman's killer is none other than Mayor Tenma, and the yokai at the scene? That too was Mayor Tenma, or should I say, our dear Tenma Taro. The pieces have all fallen into place. How so, Prosecutor Blackquill? It seems I must spell it out for you. Mayor Tenma killed the Alderman in the Fox Chamber, which was locked at the time. He then removed... Oh, God's sake.
That's okay. He then removed the warding charms from the Forbidden Chamber's door.
Give me a second.
Okay. Might have to step in and take over.
Okay. He then removed the warding charms from the Forbidden Chamber's door, but then fell unconscious from the blow the Alderman had delivered to his head. That's when his daughter, Jinxie Tenma, stumbled on the scene of the crime. The little scamp fled in terror, whereupon the spirit of Tenma Taro, freed at last from the charm's warding effect, took possession of the mare. The newly freed Tenma Taro then fled from the Fox Chamber. So you see, the yokai Jinxie Tenma saw was her father possessed by Tenma Taro.
Objection!
But when we arrived on the scene, the mayor was found unconscious. How is that possible if he was supposed to be flown out the foyer window? Then what? Do you mean to say that the maid of QB Manor, Jinxie Tenma, was Tenma Taro? Oh. That too is easily explained. Flew about for a time, did I? But presently tired, I made for the Forbidden Chamber. But alas, exhaustion took me unawares in the Fox Chamber, and I knew no more. It would seem the pieces are still in place. Is Blackwell up to his tricks again? I don't know what to say. Is the defendant a real, live... The rumor about Mayor Tenma's true? I knew yokai were real. You mean he really did kill the alderman just so he could release Tenma Taro? Order!
Now he's got everyone in the courtroom believing the yokai.
It's Simon Says on steroids.
Well, considering that spirit channeling exists, it's like, is it really that much of a stretch?
No, not really. He wants to convict our client any way he can, even if it means blaming a yokai. The proverbial ducks are all in a row. You should now have no qualms about finding the accused guilty, your baldness. This is one of the most bizarre cases in my entire career, and that's saying something. Otherworldly, in fact. Can yokai even be prosecuted under the legal system?
Objection!
Mayor Tenma is just pretending to be Tenma Taro to protect his daughter. Plus, I already proved how a third party could have escaped from the locker room. A verdict at this point would be premature. Since both sides have raised valid points, I have no choice but to...
Silence!
This is the dark age of the law, where defense attorneys are not to be trusted. This is but a ploy to gain time for them to fabricate evidence. How will I sleep tonight? Knowing you will not let the sun rise on the mayor's day of reckoning, Justice Dono.
Objection!
I won't fabricate any evidence.
Silence!
Then prove it by joining me. A night in the clink will ensure you will not succumb to temptation. How about I just promise not to succumb to anything? We have both evidence and a confession. The killer is this yokai before us. It is beyond dispute. A guilty verdict is all but... What the hell?
Oh, what the?
What's wrong with him? Prosecutor Blackwell, we've had enough of your hijinks. The foundation of justice is fair play, and you are in serious violation of that. What in the devil was that? Bullbright, have you tampered with my shackles in some manner? It seems you found that quite shocking. Lame. It's my special jolt of justice device. Each press is a shocking reminder to behave. You shall pay for this. I, Simon Blackwell,
Damn.
Your Honor, you need not fear now. I believe Prosecutor Blackwell will remain on his best behavior. A bit late with the reassurances, aren't we, Detective? Well, in that case, this concludes today's deliberations. The prosecution and defense will use this opportunity to further their investigations. This court is adjourned.
Thank God.
Phew. Yeah, this game is a lot longer than the previous ones. Of course, I just had to get a tickle in my throat near the very end.
You think we might need to bring in other people to voice act?
No, I think we'll be fine.
If you say so.
We've done longer ones than this.
Yeah, true.
Whew. Yeah, I just
But-
had...
Aw, you wanted to join?
Yeah, I just had to get a tickle in my throat near the end there.
Oh, I'm sorry.
There's nothing worse than a tickle in the throat, I swear.
I know, I hate that too.
Right, so I'm gonna go take a lozenge. Anything else to say before we go?
Nope, I'm good.
Alright folks, thanks for tuning in, and tune in next week for the premiere of Grand Theft Auto Liberty City Stories. See you then.
Bye-bye!
Bye-bye.